Okay, good evening. It's 5:30 on March 17th of 2026. This is the council meeting of the Village of Gates Mills. Can I have a roll call, please?
Broom,
Here.
Vanesco,
Here.
Perez,
Here.
Steinbrink,
Here.
Turner, Young.
Here.
And Karen Greco is here by Zoom.
Yes,
All set? Okay, thank you. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the regular council meeting of February 17th. Were there any comments or open items from the minutes? Beth?
Yes, Sandra had talked to Janet. On page 10, the second paragraph, starting with Metro Parks, is extending the work they're doing on their own property along, it should say Chagrin River Road between Mayfield and Sherman Roads.
Okay.
And that's all I was made aware of.
Are there any other comments?
That change, I'd move approval. Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Onesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner. Yes. Young.
Yes.
And I skipped Karen Greco because you don't vote.
I don't vote on that.
No.
Todd, you want to review the rules quickly?
Todd
The
will-
rules are that you can participate in the discussion. You do not count toward a quorum, and you do not have the authority to vote.
Understood.
Well, even I had that wrong. I thought that if it was a virtual meeting that you did have voting rights.
No.
Interesting. Thought I read that a bunch. Okay.
Next item on the agenda is the pay ordinance number 1307 in the amount of $823,239.44. Are there any questions on the pay ordinance? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve the pay ordinance, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Scott. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Megan. Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Onesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink.
Yes.
Turner. Yes. Young.
Yes.
Okay, the mayor's report, we have 6 items listed and 3 to be added to that list. It's been a busy 3 weeks. On the Aging Well Committee, the committee is up and active and moving. We have signed up with CPA and we've had several meetings here. They're also meeting with our police and fire chief to talk about home assists and particularly vulnerable seniors. You will recall that we have also supplemented the offerings of CPA by some of our own offerings. Specifically, we have planned to have leadership lunches, which would be on the third Wednesday of every month from 11 to 1. Those are meant to be some degree of socialization of the seniors getting together beforehand to compare notes and say hello and socialize a topic that hopefully they'll find of interest, and some time for socialization afterwards. It'll be served over lunch, and at this point, the lunches are not at any cost. That first item will be tomorrow here in the space, and the first speaker will be me, and the topic will be village priorities for 2026. We have lined up the second speaker, which is Don Fellows, which is the president of CVG. He'll be speaking at the April meeting, and they've offered to pay for lunch as well. Subsequent meetings will have the police chief and the fire chief and the building commissioner and some other people that at the leadership level, I think our seniors would enjoy a chance to talk to one-on-one, and we would have a chance to speak with them. So we're excited about that getting started tomorrow. 200th anniversary, I'm going to jump over. The Arboretum, item C, we are in good shape there. On Thursday morning, we'll have a meeting at the Arboretum with Adam Beekler, the village's consultant, and the folks from Better Meadows. They'll be talking about the next year of invasive controls as well as the tree management plan, which includes thinning out some of the overgrowth that's in the Arboretum. In the 26 priorities, item D, I made two changes since our last meeting. Both of those as suggested by council. That revised priorities list is in front of you. And this is, with any other changes today, this is the list that will go forward in organizing where we spend our time and our money and our efforts this year. The items added, the very last item, number 7, there was a recommendation that we put together a 3-year to 5-year financial plan. I've added that into the community engagement section. And I've had one council person reach out to me that wants to be on the working group. So there'll be a small working group put together to put together the 3 to 5-year financial plan. And I've also added in the safety section, item 6, it used to be we'd evaluate town halls and future needs. That was mentioned by a council person or two as perhaps a little too narrow. There are maybe some village needs that are beyond the town hall. We talk about the use of the water front, location of the salt bin. Do we have adequate space for some of our equipment, et cetera? So those will all be captured in the slightly revised wording that says evaluate town hall and future village needs. Other than that, there were no other comments that came from council members. So if you have any further comments now, I'm happy to talk with you about them. And if not, we'll go forward with this as our priorities. Okay. Hearing none, we'll move forward. Item E, the Ohio Capital Budget Application. So last week, we submitted to the State Senator Jerry Serino and Representative Dan Troy an application for community-based projects. They're at the period of time in Ohio where there is a certain dollar amount of community-based projects that representatives and senators are allowed to ask for money from the fund that's put aside for that. We were encouraged to apply for that, and so we did. This doesn't commit us to the money, and it certainly doesn't assure us of getting any money. But if you don't put your request in, there's nothing for them to consider. So we submitted for the cost of a salt bin. We put that cost at about $750,000. We indicated that we had council's prior approval to spend $5,000 for the site location and another $80,000 for engineering. We've not done the $80,000 for engineering at this point, but we did use that as a demonstration that this is a big project that we've been thinking about for years. Representative Troy was good enough to come here and walk the salt bin with Dave and I, and could see the rafters that were split in half and other kinds of wooden problems that were just deteriorating. So that's been submitted. We will see where we go. I do have a call. We have arranged for a call with Senator Serino. Don't have a date for that call yet, but we'll use that to ask for their consideration. Next item, the pedestrian bridge. We received this weekend the report, a preliminary report from R.E. Warner and Associates. This is the structural engineering firm that the village hired about 6 months ago to conduct the work. They conducted their on-site work in February during a time when there were 3 or 4 unsnowy days, and finished their work a couple weeks after that. We asked them for their preliminary work so that we could share something with council at this point. We did not ask them to finalize their report yet because they were still working on the findings. But I did share with you in your seats in front of you their preliminary findings, because I thought it was important for you to know those before we get the final report. Basically, they identified 32 findings, if you will. These are indications where there are joints or girders or beams or other types of things that have some degree of repair necessary. They graded all of their findings along a scale of 1 to 5. All of ours were rated as a 3, and the 3 report essentially says you need to fix all the stuff within the year. A grade 1 or 2 were unsafe situations. We had no unsafe situations. We also had no 4 or 5 situations, which has come back in a year or two and look at it again. So we've got about a year to take into account and get underway the repairs for the bridge. So when the full report comes, which Dave and I talked about today, I'm guessing that's probably 2 weeks, we'll have a better sense of what their final view is, as well as some preliminary sense of cost. We asked them for a rough order of magnitude. The next logical thing that comes from a report like this, and Dave and Chris can add to this if I haven't been sufficient, is to then take the findings that they have and the recommendations that they have for each of the findings and determine, do we agree with those recommendations, and do we need construction drawings to show how the repairs need to be made. Some would be cleaning, several are clean and attach a 3/8 inch steel plate that goes to a certain distance for a certain purpose. Some of the girders and some of the items there, you could literally put your foot through. So we'll need to have that report then turned into a little more detail so we could look for all construction drawings that we can then go out to firms and get repair costs. Dave or Chris, anything further to that? Okay, thank you. Not on the list is 2 other items. Item G is the wastewater Hunt Club project. Following last meeting and some articles that were in the paper, as well as some chit chat, I thought it would be helpful to update everybody on what's been happening with that. You may recall that last year, the village, on behalf of our wastewater treatment plant as a municipality, applied for funding from the Ohio EPA for a loan and from the Ohio Department of Public Works for a grant. Those 2 items, if provided to us, would provide the total cost for constructing and replacing the plant that's currently operated by the Hunt Club. We were successful on the loan. We weren't successful on the grant. We did have a view that we were close and that perhaps some further work would be more successful next year. So in December of this year, I could have my dates wrong, don't hold me to the dates. In the fall of this year, we put together a revised application for the Ohio Department of Public Works to ask for the grant. The grant is supported by 4 organizations that are well respected. They were in the first grant too, but we reinforced their desire to help this project get up and going. The good news is that as of maybe 2 weeks ago, Chris probably has the exact dates, we were notified by the Department of Public Works in District 1, which is the Northern Ohio District, that we had met the requirements to be recommended to go to the state of Ohio for consideration. Last year, we did not make it out of Division 1. This would be like going to the NCAAs and going to the Tuesday game and not really getting in the tournament, okay? We were not in the tournament. So we're now in the tournament. So as of, I guess as of this morning, we submitted to the Ohio Department of Public Works Small Business Government Subcommittee the 148-page application to be considered again for the grant. And we will see where that goes. The Hunt Club knows this. I've shared this with them. And we had a meeting actually the other day, and they're quite supportive of going forward with the village. We hope that this grant refiling a year later will be more successful than the first one. If there's any specific, and we will know on the first week of May, so let's just call it the second week of May, because you'll all call me on May 1st. And I'm not sure if that's a Monday or a Tuesday, but we'll know within the first 10 days of May if we're successful for the grant. If we are, then that will obviously reduce the cost for the whole project. Chris, any comments on that you care to add? Okay. Okay, thank you. The last item I put down here was, I sent you all the Old Mill storm water information. We've had a problem at the bottom of Old Mill Road and Chagrin River Road by the Green Bridge, on the east side of the bridge, for quite some time. Last year, you may have noticed that we fixed it ourselves once or twice on a part-time basis with Dave's crew and Chris's engineers. That fix, like most temporary fixes, lasts only a temporary time, and we knew that to be the case, but you have to do things temporarily to let people in and out of their driveways. So that became a problem again. The team was sent out to figure out what the problem was and what the real cost of the problem was, and that turned out to be about $125,000. I sent that all to you in advance, just so you have a sense of where some of these things come up. There's no action that I would ask you to do today because we don't yet have the paperwork to act on. But when we do get the paperwork, and we did get it actually today, but it wasn't time for anyone to review it, we'll bring it back to council in April, and I'll ask at that time in April for your comments and approval, and we'll ask for it to be passed if you so desire under emergency measures. We've been able to put together the money to get the $125,000 from credit that we have with the NEORSD in a cost-sharing pool of funds that are collected from stormwater management fees. And those funds are allocated to the different communities. We've had somewhat of a carryover fund. If you don't use them for certain projects, you can carry them over for a while. If you don't use them ever, the money's lapsed. And we have usually accumulated a few years' worth because the projects have to be approved by them. We're also allowed to essentially ask for some money in advance. We normally would get $10,000 to $15,000 a year allocated to our projects, and so we could draw down some of that money before the years appear. So with those two combinations, I think you saw in the email, and there were a few questions that came from one or two of you. We'd be able to put together about $110,000 of the $125,000 estimated cost. There's paperwork that would be required. Again, that contract came today, and there's 3 exhibits that go with it we'll have to check on. But that's an indication of the kinds of things that we know maybe are out there. You don't know when they're going to bubble up to be a problem. When they do bubble up, they literally are usually a 5 or 6 figure problem. And in this case, I think we have a creative way to raise that money and apply it without having to dip into our general fund for something that specifically is a stormwater issue for which money is put aside. Are there any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to stop because I'm running out of letters in the alphabet. Now up to I think, and that's probably enough. Financial report. You have the financial report. We started off January in a good month. February, we pre-warned you would be a difficult month because real estate tax bills did not go out as they had gone out in the past. And therefore, taxpayers didn't pay them at the same pace, and the government didn't remit them at the same pace. We did collect in the month of March already, Janet, $1,035,000 roughly. $1,039,000. So that will get us, that'll be in March's numbers, that'll get us back up to where we need to be, just about. We know that we'll get the whole number for the year because they gave us that number. That is a certified number that came from auditor in terms of what real estate taxes will be. So all that varies really is when you get it. It used to be more predictable. The last 2 years, it's lagged about 4 to 6 weeks. That started with the reappraisal process, the need to have to go down to Columbus to get those values certified or adjusted. And by the time that trickled back up, last year's bills went out late and this year's were perhaps on the same pace. We also had a tenant that forgot to send a rent check. We've called them and that's on the way. That's a relatively smaller item. And you can see we have had some excess overtime pay with the service department, police department, fire department. It's been a busy January and February. And thank goodness everybody is here. The machines are all working. We only had one individual that was hurt for a while, and we're not aware of any residents, including this weekend, that have been injured by the storms and the high winds and the ice. We'll let chiefs and Dave talk about the impact during their report. So any questions on the financial report? Okay. Beth, is there a clerk's report?
No. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Spear, treasurer's report?
I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Minicello, you're up at the podium.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Everybody should have received a copy of my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. I think I would just like to elaborate on my first note there. And I think it was last Tuesday, I think the mayor and I and Mayfield Heights and St. Francis Festival officials met. We knew this was coming and we met with them, and they're going to take a 1-year hiatus from the festival for this year, the annual summer festival. As far as I've been here 33 years and this has never happened before. So they're going to take a 1-year break. And no real reason. I just don't think there was enough time for them to pull it together, and they didn't exactly know what they wanted it to look like. So rather than rush through it, they decided to go ahead and just kind of step back away from it a little bit. And they expect it to resume in some form next year. So we'll see what happens with that. So I'm not too terribly disappointed, with that, just from a police management standpoint. But so
Can you, on the back of your report, we've got the speeding the statistics, and the rate continues to be just at 45 miles per hour, which is our goal of achievement. The ticket numbers, the number of citations, though, seems to vary and to go down. And I know January and February would have been very cold and snowy and icy months, and people would logically be expected to drive down quite a bit. If you're going 55 or 60 down there in that weather, that would be really dangerous. So some of that's weather, but if you look at last year, even during January and February, Chief, the numbers were still up. So it just begs the question a little bit, are there more cold days this year or more icy days or anything that would be indicative, or do you have any other reason for why
well,
the
I think just,
citations are down so much?
well, I would say, I do think this year was much worse than last year, if my recollection serves me correctly. But I also think that, just people are very aware of where the cameras are. And, it's doing its primary job of reducing the speed that we have seen in the data. And, I don't think it's an exact science. I mean, we see what the numbers are and, we just review and approve every single one that comes over. So, I don't really have much more information on that.
Chief, does snow on the plates affect the ability?
It can, you're sure if it's obstructed. I mean, sure. I mean, there's a lot of, I think I've mentioned before, there's countless things that it could be.
Right.
Not just any one thing, but, but certainly, I mean, just the weather, I mean, certainly, plays a significant role in that.
I think if you look at the passes at 60 plus, which is where a lot of the citations are definitely going to be, if you look at November through February, there's not 1 month that's less than 705 passes at 60 plus, and we only had 498 and 565 in January and February. Kudos, even if people are knowing where the camera is, but I think that's a really big indicator that there's just nothing to give on that when you're at less than half of what they were about a year ago.
But I guess I would maybe just ask the opposite question. If you add the passes at 58, 59, and 60 for February, if I've got this right, it's like 1,142. And there were 647 citations. So I guess there's kind of a disconnect.
Yeah, well, they're always going to be offset. I mean, when you see 30 days, remember, from the time somebody's issued a citation, in theory, they have 60 days to pay it. In theory. So, if you see, citations issued in February, that's also including citations from January and possibly December. And then next month, same thing, so we'll get a March report next month, but it'll include some of the citations from February and also March.
I don't understand. Are these citations issued or citations paid?
That they're paid, citations paid, you have up to 60 days to do it.
But this column, citations issued.
Right.
Just the tickets we've sent out or the tickets we've collected?
No, those are citations that are sent out.
Okay.
Those are
I don't
issued.
Understand why there would be a bleed.
Right. Right.
Question, the bleed one month to the next, if these are the issues.
Yeah, because, if I receive a citation today, I may not receive it in the mail for 2 weeks.
I think, the
Send it out today.
Right, we don't send it out. The company sends it. We do not physically send the citations out.
Okay, one more question. I would expect that there'd be some consistency in percentage, like if related to the total number over the speed. But the percentage is all over.
Yeah, and that's not on our end. See, there's a process. They receive, again, someone gets cited today. The company, Gasso Scale, has their back-end reviewers review. We don't know what they're seeing. We have no idea. So they kick out X amount of citations. They just send the ones over to us to double check those, and we kick those out from there. So we don't exactly know what their reviewers are looking at. We don't see every single one they do. It's like, it's checks and balances.
The thing you're missing here is, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there are 2 columns that I added to my spreadsheet that I think you need. And then it will tell you, like right now, the total passes is just the total passes, period. But what you really care about are only those 3 columns in the middle. Summation of those versus citations issued. And I believe what you'll see is something consistent. I can probably do it in 2 seconds here if I need to, but I don't, just my math mind looking at this, I don't think that it's actually changed all that much. This total passes is a bit misleading because that's the total number of cars going back and forth.
I agree. I wasn't looking at total passes. I was looking at passes in excess of.
Give me 2 seconds, I'll have it for you.
Well, so these are citations issues, not citations paid, first of all. There is a process to have a citation issued that does include the Census Gatso team who first get the citations, give them to us for verification. So if there is a week, let's say, where somebody didn't process them as timely, sometimes we'd see that at the end of the month where maybe we process the citations on a Friday, and that Friday happens to be the first of the next month. And so you may have 1 month was a little heavier than a previous month, but over time, those should all pass out. These have to be either that people have just slowed down a lot in the bad weather of January and February, which would be a nice answer. Or, could there be something wrong with something else? Is there some break in the process of issuing the citations?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you another example. So just this morning I looked, and so there's probably about, this is just rough numbers from what I remember. There's a queue. We know how many are coming our way. When I say coming our way, they're reviewing those right now. I think we had like 550 of them. Okay. And that's just, over the past week, let's just say past week. So when we review those, and let's say we approve 500 of those, there's a good chance those 500 won't even be paid in this month.
Sure.
It's very possible.
Understand.
Some people pay it day 1, some people pay it day 30. Some people won't pay it at all, and they'll get the reminder notice, and they'll remember to do it the next time. So,
Have we
Yeah.
found any improvement in collection since we started doing?
We have not yet started the collection service. That's after the second request. We are close on that. We've said that before. We literally were on the phone with the CEO of the company last week, and he promised that the final default judgment language from the court, et cetera, would be done by March 31st, and we'd be able to plug in immediately thereafter.
Chief, I'd be interested in understanding better how Senso is calling out certain violations before they're sending them over to you.
yeah, I mean, we could try to find that. Again, they probably employ people who are, sitting there and, we can actually, we can see who the reviewers are. I mean, we have all kinds of data. I mean, but, some people are gonna, reject certain citations and maybe somebody else wouldn't. Or maybe, there's a weak stretch there where once again.
Why don't we, great points, okay? It's obvious we've got more questions than we have answers tonight. So if it's okay, why don't we put together a little something over the next 2 weeks, get it to council, and we can pick this up at the next meeting. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Any other comments? Okay. Dave Biggert, Service Department, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. You should have received a copy of my monthly report. I'm happy to answer any questions on that or anything else. If there are none, I think under my report, needed to talk to you about getting permission so we can advertise or re-advertise this year's guardrail program work. Initially, the work Chris and I had determined we wanted to do this year, it was underneath the publicly bid threshold. So Chris contacted 3 contractors who do guardrail work or have done it for us in the past. Last week, we only received 1 bid, which was Lake Erie Construction. They were the contractor that did the work last year. And it was above the bid threshold. It was for $89,000 and about 18% over the engineer's estimate, which now requires us to advertise publicly the work. And our hope is by advertising it, we're going to get a little bit bigger pool of contractors interested, and knowing that it's a competitive bid, hopefully get some decent numbers. So at some point we'll be asking you guys to allow us to do that work, or at least advertise for the work, I should say. Questions?
And Dave, on the salt, we're back in a decent shape. It's nice that
Yes.
our neighbor lent you 3 trucks and
Yes.
returned them. We've got 129 tons yet to be purchased.
Yes, a minimum we have to purchase at least that, correct?
Okay, and we can do that anytime over the next several months. Look, I mean,
Yes.
let's hope we don't have a tough next 2 months in
Yeah,
March or April.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I think don't quote me on this, I think by April, they want to know either we're buying it or are we storing it with them, so.
Okay.
128 tons or whatever, it's not a whole lot, so we should be able to get that in there.
Okay.
And-
And the max is 758. We're never going to get to that max.
Well, we can, I mean, that's our option to want to purchase that. So the bid, the salt contract with the state is every year I come before you and we submit a number. I think for this season, we said we wanted 2,100 tons. You have an option, you have to under the contract buy 85% of that, or you have an option to buy 115%. So they give you, if you don't need as much, you don't have to buy, but if you need more, you've got a little room to buy. So a lot of times we try to guess what the market is, and we will try to buy the max if we can fit it in the bin. This year, we won't be able to fit it, but again, depending on what next year's price is, it still may behoove us even if we have to pay storage. But that's all part of what we got to work through.
Okay.
That side.
Any questions for the Service Department?
We need a motion all right, I'll move to make a motion to authorize a re-advertisement for competitive bids for the village's 2026 guardrail program.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
It's what came first, the guardrail contract or the tree contract? It's the chicken and the egg.
Well, we usually do we usually do the guardrail, and then once it's fixed, then the tree falls on the guardrail. We just
You'll recall that most of this guardrail was the August 6th
Yeah.
storm of
Yeah.
2024. And we had over about $125,000 of guardrail damage, and it was just too much to pay in 1 year. So we split it about 80,000 last year. I asked Chris, Dave to keep it to the majority, but not all of it, because we just couldn't swing that. And the rest to pick up in year two, so this is really year two. Okay, roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez.
Yes.
Steinbrink.
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, Fire Department report, please. You guys have been busy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. You have a copy of my February report. I'll answer any questions you may have on it and then give you a brief update on the storm that we just had.
So Tom, I have one question. What is, on the 221, the Hill Creek Lane structure fire, what is the box 1402? What is that?
Okay. We're in a regional system here. What happens is when a call is received by dispatch that there's either a working fire or smoke in the structure, they automatically put out a box alarm. And each community has a range for different types of emergency. For example, our box 1402 is a structure fire. What that brings in on the alarm is the host department, obviously, and it also brings in other resources. For this particular box, it's Mayfield Heights, Mayfield Village, Pepper Pike, Chesterland, and Russell into staging, and Willoughby Hills for a squad. So we pre-stage the resources so we can always upscale if we need more resources right at the scene. And then once we get there on this particular call, basically the fire was out. There was just overhaul and checking the rest of the structure for extension. So we release all the companies right away.
So it's just a designation for, predetermined designation.
Correct. Like
Mutual aid.
our station number is station 14, so all of our boxes start out with 14.
Just curious.
Quick report on the activities of the last 3 or 4 days. We've had one structure damage, a lot of trees down, but only one structure damaged.
That's correct. The structure's on Riverview Drive. And basically, they're still working to restore power in a few areas of the village. There's still some homes without power as we have this meeting. Most of the impact damage was on West Hill, Woodstock, Riverview. Although there was other areas where there was just a tree down or whatever. Now, it generated about 22 calls in storm damage and assessments, and that's after we take out all the calls that were reporting the same problem. We did use our radio system to its advantage this time. Members of our service department have the upgraded radios, and you were able to coordinate with them on some of these issues.
Okay, thank you.
And last thing, you could say thanks to Scott McGosh, 38 years. That's quite a
Okay.
few years.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, thank you, Tom. And to Dave and chiefs and anyone else in the office that helped the last 3 or 4 days. Really great work, guys, with the weather and the wind, the 24-hour service. I saw trucks and cars driving by my house all kind of times. The day there was one Sunday afternoon at 9 o'clock, just a front end loader without a driver. They were just going, moving trees and stuff. So really dedicated service that we have. So thank you. Thank your crews for all the work. Okay, next item is item 11, ordinance 26-17. This is an ordinance authorizing all the actions necessary to accept the Northeast Ohio Public Emergency Council, otherwise known as NOPIC, 2026 Engineered Energized Community Grant. So from time to time, NOPEC makes available grants for municipalities. This is an $8,000 grant. This paperwork is asking you to accept the grant. In the past, we've used the grant for improvements. Most recently, I think we did some work here in the community hall. We're thinking that this 8,000 would probably be used for windows. We used them in the past for furnaces. They have to be obviously energy based type expenditures.
One comment in section 1, the second line, it says 2025.
And windows in which building? Do you,
Sorry?
windows in which building? Do you have a?
Well, we were hopeful to use them for the squad room, the locker room downstairs. Those are, I think they're even single pane windows. Dave's taking a look at what estimated costs are. I don't know if he's got any bids back or not. There's 3 windows there that are in need.
Thank you.
So may I have a motion to suspend the rules? Thank you,
Second.
Sandra. Thank you, Scott. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes,
Young.
Yes.
We have a motion to approve ordinance 26-17.
so moved.
Second.
Sandra, thank you, Scott. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Thank you.
You know, this is after the fact, but you said 8,000.
8,000.
Okay, will it be, I don't see it on here. Does that matter? Okay, all right, thank you.
This resolution is actually done by.
All right. Just so you know what we're supposed to get.
And I will say, I tried to look that up and the only thing I got in my search results was every other community approved it last month. So,
Oh.
right,
It's due by it's due in June.
right. I saw June 3rd.
Okay, next item is item number 12. This is resolution 2026-18. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a Phase 2 stormwater services agreement with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health with the authority and consent to provide the Phase 2 stormwater services in 26 and 27. So I'll ask Chris or Dave to clarify this if I don't have this described adequately in layman terms. But in short, the US EPA requires services to be done by each community. We're given a certain permit to do that. The Cuyahoga County Board of Health takes responsibility for that service. We have to hire them to essentially do that service. Chris?
So for those who are new on council, as a municipality of a certain size in Ohio, we have to have a permit from the EPA to operate our storm sewer system. The next 2 ordinances are part of that permit program. In conjunction with the County Board of Health, Chagrin River Watershed Partners, Regional Sewer District, Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works, Soil and Water Conservation District, Service Department and Engineering, we administer the permit program that we have. There are 6 elements to it: public education, public involvement, illicit discharge detection and elimination, construction site runoff, post-construction stormwater management, and pollution prevention and good housekeeping. Each one of those has a particular prescribed requirement associated with them. The beginning of April each year, we have to assemble a combined report for all the activity over the last year and then submit that to the EPA for permit compliance. Each year we get audited probably every 3 or 4 years. They come up and audit a certain portion of our program. So these next 2 ordinances are of particular importance in that program.
With the Stormwater Conservation District, there's no cost associated with it because it's paid directly by the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District under the Regional Stormwater Plan. The next ordinance with the County Board of Health, that's relatively inexpensive. I think it's $500 a year, so it's not real expensive. But your support would be appreciated. Thanks.
Okay, don't leave. Thank you for that explanation. That was really helpful. I tried to do that, but it didn't quite get as far as you got. Okay, may I have a motion to suspend the rules for resolution 2026-18?
So moved.
Thank you, Scott.
Second.
Thank you, David. Any discussion on the suspension? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes,
Young.
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 26-18?
I move to approve resolution number 2026-18.
Second.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, David. Any discussion?
The only thing I'd note is I don't know if we've taken advantage of any of the public education or public involvement activities, but I mean, public presentations on a range of local conservation topics for community groups, providing programs and workshops for residents or landowners to learn about ways to improve stormwater management on their properties. That just seems to align with the tree canopy and land conservancy. So maybe we can let them know about those options as well, or they could support or do in conjunction programming for that, since we're opting in. So
Duly noted. We rely heavily on the Schroon River Watershed Partners and the Stormwater Conservation District for our, what's called our PIPE program, public involvement, public education. But if we can include something with the Tree Canopy Committee, that would be terrific. I'll reach out to them tomorrow about that.
yeah, it seems like we should take advantage of some that aligned with the same goals. So thank you.
good observation. When we've done the rain barrel program, that's been through this group, but yeah, we could probably take more advantage of that.
Any further comment or question? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink.
Yes.
Turner,
Yes,
Young.
Yes.
Okay, next is resolution 2026-19. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District and the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for the provision of technical assistance for the village of Gates Mills, our compliance with Ohio EPA's National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. Chris, would you want to summarize that?
Yeah, specifically, this is for minimum control measure number 3, illicit discharge detection elimination. We have an agreement with the County Board of Health to monitor our stormwater outfalls during dry weather flows to determine if there's any illicit discharges connected to them, and we have a program in place to track those back upstream and eliminate them. So this is a part of the Phase 2 stormwater program related to minimum control measure number 3.
And this is essentially, NeoSword gives us 6,600, we turn around and give it to.
No, yeah, that's the way it was a couple years ago. But now they pay for it directly. The regional sewer district does. I believe so. I'll check. Okay.
Okay, may I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Thank you, Craig.
Second.
Thank you, Megan. Any discussion on the question of the suspension? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink.
Yes.
Turner,
yes,
Young.
Yes.
We have a motion on approving resolution 2026-19.
So moved.
Thank you, Craig.
Second.
Thank you, Megan. Any further discussion or questions on this item?
So Megan, on page 5, village responsibilities, it's the same thing, PIPE program, it's the public involvement and public education. Yeah. A lot of acronyms, I had to write them down.
Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner,
yes.
Young.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Resolution number 2026-20. This is a resolution accepting the bids of Specialized Construction, Inc. and Roniak Paving and awarding 2 contracts for the 26 road program and declaring an emergency. So
what I put up on the change slow.
So then there's,
Kind of math
so then
error
there's
in our
some room
favor.
left in the budget for the roads program. After this is done, there was an extra 100,000 or so.
No,
This doesn't use up all the budget. What
It
we had
does.
in there.
I think it's under.
It is, because I added up the two numbers. I'm like, oh, it's right on the budget. And so this is below.
Yeah.
So which is,
Yeah, it should be pretty close and under.
okay, maybe that's what's the difference. Okay, thanks.
I thought we were right at 1018, but we'll check the math.
I think the old numbers were, but with the decrease in the one number, it was under.
Uh-huh.
So that was nice. I did have one question. I was listening back to the meeting where you presented on the roads program, and I think with the roads that are being covered under this, it's Chelsea Beverly, Colvin Glenwood, and then Settlers Ridge. And there was discussion of a reimbursement for the construction damage to Settlers Ridge, possibly. So is that still?
Instead of the
negotiated or-
reimbursement, we had them complete at the end of last year because the road was in such terrible condition. We had them complete a bunch of full depth repairs in lieu of giving us money and us having to go in there and complete temporary work to get us over the winter. So they did about $75,000 to $90,000 worth of full depth repairs at the end of last year, which kind of sets the table. That's less work we have to do this year
Okay.
in preparation for our overlay. And it also made the road usable throughout the winter for the residents. It cleaned things up pretty well.
Okay. Thank you.
The extent you read the detail, Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2 are essentially striping and patching, and items 3, 4, and 5 are reconstruction or new construction for the roads.
Yeah, sections 1 and 2 are the county road work, of which we get about half back from the county through the county road maintenance program. Section 2 is the local road maintenance program, so it'll be primarily striping and reclamite work on recently repaved roads, along with about $85,000, about $70,000 in patching on roads that have yet to be determined based on winter damage. We'll do that assessment at the beginning of construction. And then sections 3, 4, and 5, which would be for Roniak, would be for the local road reconstruction work.
And a quick recap of the roads that are going to be in 3, 4, and 5. Please.
Sections 3, 4, and 5 include Chelsea Lane and Beverly Lane, which will be chip sealed and then overlaid after some full depth repairs. Colvin, which will be reconstructed in concrete because of the bus traffic. We constantly have problems with that getting torn up because of the buses. Glenwood will be repaired and resurfaced. Settlers Ridge will have repairs and resurfacing. And West Hill Drive will be repaired and resurfaced. I believe that's it. And that is it.
That's it. So this is year 5 of our 5 or 6 year program.
It is.
Sorry?
It is.
Yeah. To essentially address what we had 5, 6 years ago identified as a $5 to $6 to $7 million nugget in front of us. And by essentially doubling the spend from $400,000 to $500,000 a year to roughly to $1 million a year, we'll be able to accomplish this in the 5 years and maintain some of the improvements that were made to those improved roads.
Correct. And of all the roads that were designated as failed, once we complete this year's program, we will have effectively addressed all the failed roads at the village, along with making headway on some of the fair roads.
And Chris, they would like to get started as soon as the weather's permitting, is that?
Yeah, we haven't talked to them about a start date yet, but knowing that we're bidding it early, I would expect that they'll probably, reclamite work and patching and crack seal work by Specialized won't happen until the summertime. We need warm, dry weather for that. Roniak, I would expect we'll probably want to start in May.
Any other questions on the road program? It's a substantial expenditure. It's one that we had planned and known about. We spec'd it and bid it accordingly. Okay, may I have a motion to suspend the rules on motion 2026-20?
So I can't see that there's any reason not to. I was thinking maybe, reason two, that they want to get started right away, but I don't see that there's any reason not to. This is all known about the program, so I would suspend.
Thank you. Second, please. Thank you, David. Any discussion on the suspension? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner, Young.
Yes.
And may I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-21?
I would move to approve resolution number 2026-20.
I'm sorry, 20, excuse me. Thank you, Scott.
Second.
Thank you, Sandra. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner, Young.
Yes.
The next item is item number 15, resolution number 2026-21. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a second amendment to the indenture of lease with Smythe Kramer, DBA Howard Hanna, for office space at 1501 Chagrin River Road. Karen, I have your name down next to it, but if it's okay with you, can I provide the context in the background?
Go right ahead.
Thank you. So we have been working with Howard Hanna's office for the last several years under essentially one-year leases. There'd be a one-year lease and extension, then there'd be a one-year option. Time came for the renewal again this year. We had a conversation with the Howard Hanna executive office. They're quite satisfied with their operation in Gates Mills, and would like to have a two-year lease with one two-year option. Essentially, this would be identifying them as the holder of that space for the next 4 years. They've agreed to a rent increase, which is what we were looking for, and a second rent increase when the lease gets renewed, if so extended 2 years from now. I asked Todd to work with the Howard Hanna group to get this done and in shape. Their lease runs through the summer. We don't have to approve this by suspending the rules. However, this is a relatively simple item, and it's relatively straightforward, relatively small space. Not sure what other discussion or questions that you might have. But we've put together the Second Amendment. Todd has run that by the Howard Hanna people. They're satisfied with the document, and so we'll bring that for your discussion. Okay. If no discussion, we appreciate a motion to suspend the rules for
So moved.
resolution 2621.
Second.
Thank you.
And David?
Greg.
Yep.
Any discussion on the suspension? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner, Young.
Yes.
And motion, please, to approve resolution 2026-21.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner, Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is an executive session. I would request a motion to go into executive session to receive legal advice from counsel.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Scott. Thank you, Sandra. Roll call.
Broom,
Yes.
Monesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink,
Yes.
Turner, Young.
Yes.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock and we have reconvened the meeting of the Gates Mills Council. Next item is a council discussion. I believe Ms. Turner has a item or two she wants to cover. Sandra.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to bring up the topic of Rust Belt riders. you all received some information from me on Sunday evening in your village mailbox. Rust Belt Riders is an employee-owned business that specializes in recycling food scraps into compost. If any of you have been to any of the 18 Heinen's stores in Northeast Ohio, you may be familiar with the bins that are either on the side or the back of the building. In addition to grocery stores, they also provide, Rust Belt Riders has a contract with Heinen's. And in addition, there are businesses, schools, municipalities like Beechwood and Shaker Heights, Lakewood, Rocky River, that contract for their services. In some instances, they work with residents on an individual basis. We actually did have a discussion with them last summer, and it kind of explored the topic. Since then, they've come up with a municipal plan, which is more successful in the sense that the community purchases the services and residents who are interested participate. They would set up what they call a corral with 3 bins in it. And we have possible locations either back where the recycling is, or in the school parking lot. There's certainly other entities in the village that could participate in this, and that would include, Sarah's, Addie's Cup, the schools. We've got a variety of schools in our community, and the Hunt Club as well. But my interest, or our interest, and I should say that a couple of residents brought this to our attention. Jen Pinto, who's done a lot of work in the village on recycling, Jan Holzman, Laurel Smith, and Jan Holzman, Laurel Smith, and Evans Barnes, Will Barnes' daughter. They've done composting. They've used the Heinen's facility, and are interested in bringing this forward, as a continuation of our efforts at preservation and conservation. There's a lot of detail involved, but bottom line, it would probably cost us about $12,000 a year. For the 3 bins they pick up on a weekly basis, we're charged for the bins that have something in them. So if there's nothing in the bin, there's no charge for it. My interest tonight is really just in kind of getting your feedback about the concept and consideration that I would present at the April council meeting for doing a survey of residents about their interest. Rust Belt Riders has done this with other communities and would help us put a survey together. And I certainly wouldn't want to move forward unless we knew there was some significant interest in the village. They know that we have about 2,300 residents in the village, and they have some formula that would indicate how many people would need to be interested or participate to make this a success. The benefits for the village itself would be, having less trash. Again, it contributes to the environment. It reduces methane. Ultimately, it could have an impact on the expense of regular trash hauling if we had less refuse going into the trash. And we would get a 10% discount on any of what they call tilth soil, which is the result of the composting. There are grants available. Some of them, really are targeted on urban areas and underserved communities, which probably wouldn't be very successful for us. But the Cuyahoga Solid Waste District does have a special projects grant, which is an option for us because it does include municipalities without any means tests or introducing recycling, composting, et cetera. And Rust Belt Riders would help us with that. But again, there's no, there's no guarantees to that, but it is, but it is. If there was some interest, I would ask Rust Belt Riders to come to the April meeting, talk about this in a little bit more detail, and we could decide if we were interested in a community survey. So I'll stop with that and see kind of what your comments or questions are.
Sandra, Judy and I are participants already.
Okay,
Uh,
with Rust Belt?
With Rust Belt, we go to the Heinens Ensemble,
Okay,
for $12 a month.
right.
If we have a $12,000 free bins here in Gates Mills, does that change the cost for the individual participants?
The individual participant would be $0. And you're paying $12 a month, not $12 a week? You're
Well,
sure?
I'm sure about the $12. I'm not sure if there's monthly or week.
I think you're paying $12 a week,
Okay.
but
And
no,
if
it
we
would,
do
it,
this here, then it would be free to,
residents.
And the 3 bins are in the one corral.
And the ones-
And then if we wanted more bins, does that increase, what does that increase the cost to you?
It would, it would increase the cost, it would increase the cost.
Okay,
we
The
would,
bins are about 80.
no. I'm just saying about multiple locations, like, or like,
Yeah,
maybe we want to think then about the bins, like,
the bins are
where they go.
$85 a week.
Okay.
Again, if they have something in.
I mean, my husband uses Rust Belt Riders with work, and they've had a really great experience since like 2018 through the museum and the food service operation there, and it's been positive. The other question I had is, do they report what they collect to Cuyahoga Solid Waste? Because there is a metric that they capture about composting.
No, exactly. And that's probably another positive for the village, because up until this past year, we've been pretty low on our recycling numbers. It jumped up by 334% this year since we have the bins, the recycling bins. But yeah, this would contribute to, to our numbers. And they will make a report to the village on a monthly basis about utilization.
Sandra, are these bins, I mean, are there charcoal filters on these bins or something?
Oh.
Are they sealed for smell and?
Yes,
use and-
yeah, no, that's a good point. And there was a picture in the one document that, there's a corral and these bins are, 56 gallons each,
Okay.
56 gallons each.
64, they're just like recycled.
Okay,
physically, appearance, they're very much like the recycling bin.
okay. They are locked.
And the way that, so a membership, the way that get combination, they will add a lot in. And I thought, at least Sandra, in
Yeah.
the information, one of the ladies from University Heights, the examples they give, she says, I now save $12 a month. I don't know,
Oh, okay, all right,
a month or a
He
week.
who must be obeyed tells me it's for
okay, all right, good, good,
And,
good, good.
I don't have any experience with that. I mean, it's funny. I don't know. We had this conversation today. I know Meg and we don't put any food waste
Oh.
we put it all outside, right?
Outside.
So,
We have
Yeah.
we have compost bins too, like the
I know.
the tumblers for the garden, but then, sometimes stuff
So-
outside.
and this is just, I'm just thinking of in terms of participation, bang for our buck here.
Mhm.
Because it would only make sense if it made sense we had pretty good participation. And it seems to me the barrier is people having some way to store before they bring it down. That's a barrier. Then, you got to get them to come down to
Mhm,
it. But,
mhm.
but do they offer, like, is there a container that you use? Or you just, how do you?
We have a container that sits on the sink, not come from hospital pipe, but has green recyclable cap. Yeah. And we fill it up, put it in the freezer, and we close the freezer.
Oh, so, and you could drop it in a bag. You don't have to, not scraping it out, throw it in the bag. Okay. It's probably easier.
And there's, you know, an education campaign, much like the Aging Well program, there would be a, you know, community education program. And as they said, you know, it starts out slow and then builds. You know, and I would say, we don't personally do it at this point, but much, for me, much like the recycling, you know, with the bins, we ended up doing 2 or 3 times as much as we, you know, as we used. So again, I think there's potential in terms of what we're doing for our environment. And, you know, I'm not one to want to spend money unnecessarily. So I'd want to make sure that this is something that's, you know, that's going to be used. And the questions in the survey would have to be such that, you know, it really gets at that. Because it's one thing to say, would you use this if there's no cost? Oh, yeah, sure. But it needs to be a little bit more in depth than that to really give us a sense.
Would you physically drive in your car with your garbage?
And it, you know, and at this point, I'm not talking about including some of these other entities, but, you know, if you expand it to include some of these other groups and schools, then that changes the cost of the village too. They would be
Sandra,
participating,
what
but-
happens if the bins are full? Because right now, if those paper bins get full, we
Yep.
get tons of calls.
Yep.
And we can't get them to come out and empty them. So what would they do if they're filled by midweek?
They would, well, they said that they would come out and get them, and they would also be noting the trend, and if they're getting full, then they're gonna add a bin. Yeah.
Really dumb question, but will they just try it?
Will they what?
Just try it. I mean,
Like put a bin out and see what
Yeah.
happens?
Well, it would cost us $12,000 a year.
well, I mean, I'm saying, you know, if they want to make $12,000 a year, will they just try it for a
Like
couple
a
months?
pilot, you're saying like a.
Yeah,
Like a pilot project. Put it out. And
yeah, 60 days. You know, we'll pay you for 60 days. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, but we'll put the word out. We'll tell everybody about it. We'll say it's there. It's a, you know, it's a good thing. If they start filling up, oh gosh, yes. But if nobody comes down, then it sounds to me like you'll fill it up yourself, actually.
There's a certain motivation for people to be involved, either you
Right.
can do it or
Right.
friend. I think difference of freezer doesn't close back up going to the service center or a so different addition to do to have the bins closer, be a convenience, but
And if you're going to Heinen's, you're probably going to go to Heinen's anyway. Yeah.
yeah, to have it free versus pay $12 a month.
So the other option is we can just promote Heinen's for scrap recycling.
So Sandra, are you asking more for, council's input on whether a survey would be the next logical step or having them come in? I guess personally, I think it would be better to have them come in first.
Okay.
That way I'd be a little bit more knowledgeable about what other communities kind of look like.
Okay.
Gates Mills that are doing this versus maybe a community that's a little more densely populated.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that might help formulate questions for a survey, like what was done for the recycling.
Yep.
Be able to get feedback.
Yes.
And then if someone were to ask, if a survey went out, you would say, well, I really don't know anything. So I think it would
Right.
maybe make more sense for them to.
Okay. And, you know, and again, I'm not fast tracking this per se. I really see this as something that we're socializing and looking into. And it could be part of the 2027 budget. So, you know, it doesn't have to be fast tracked.
You know, I still stand by if they want to try for 60 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. More power to them.
60 days probably.
Yeah. And
That's true.
And if you open it, I mean, if you start it, then the people who do participate, they're going to say, what, you quit already?
yeah,
So
it
we
could
have to
be.
give it some thought.
Takes a little commitment. It's like plastic bag.
It's funny when I go to England all the time. It's the law. It's so weird, and it also is in Japan, which is interesting.
About composting.
People
Okay,
put their
so-
Bags away. We've never used any of the dirt.
Oh,
Can we summarize this, that we'll invite them to the April meeting? And in the meantime, Sandra, from all the data that you had just heard and questions, you can maybe start creating your survey questions so that if we do go forward, we've already got a couple weeks on that.
Good.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other council discussion item?
Oh.
Is there any business from the audience? I'm sorry, John.
I did get, because of course I did, I got the, answers to the, speed cameras. I will work personally with the chief on this, before the next meeting to augment his report with just 2 columns. There is one thing that is an interesting statistic. First of all, take to the bank that the column that is there with the citations does not change. I went back to the last 3. That is the number of citations issued that month that they hit accept on. So they're reviewing each and every one of them. They're hitting accept. That counts towards that column. So there's no 30 days of arrears. There's nothing about payment or anything like that. What you will see is that the speed cameras are working. The number of people passing has gone down greatly in terms of speed, like almost to a third. But the one oddity is that for a really good portion of last year, our numbers were between 72 and 76, and we had even some 81s at 80% citations to total eligible speeders. And then in February, which is the lowest month ever, we dropped to 57%. So it is 57% of eligible speeders were done. Now, could that be because of license plates not being readable, something like that? That's totally possible. But I can work with the chief to at least put these columns into it, and then that's a talking point to say, literally that one column is what you need to look at, and we'll get that into it for the next meeting.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Finally, you all got on your places the colored map. These are the zones, if you will, that have been identified by CVG of how they'll go forward and build out the village. These are best estimates at this point of when they will have the construction going in those zones. So this does not mean that it's available by calling and flipping the switch. But we did want to start to give people a sense of what zone they were in and roughly what quarter they would be affected. As you can see here, most of this should be done by June of 2027 in terms of construction. It might not be turned on until July 1, but we should have most of that well underway. We did have a meeting with them last week. Right now, there's 1 construction crew working on Epping. In about 2 weeks, there'll be 3 construction crews in the village. So we'll see the pace, once the weather changes and so on, the pace picking up.
Really nice group of people, very responsive.
Yep. And I think we'll post this in the library and town hall in a few places so people can see it. And if you come to the senior lunch tomorrow, you'll get a free copy, one of our handouts. Okay. Huh? I'll have to call fellows to do that, yeah. Or go, yeah. Okay, no other business, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Broom. Thank you, Mr. Young. Roll call, please.
Broom,
Yes.
Onesco,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Steinbrink.
Yes.
Turner, Young.
Yes.
Thank you all.